Yeah.
Welcome on the show, Babita and Saumya. This is the pre, and we do, the participants, it's shooting like mad.
Yeah, draw, Alok.
Hi, Shrini. Hi, Lata. Lata Babi is here. Sata. Utkarsh is here. Prabhatai. Why, I have never seen this kind of response so early.
Yeah.
This is just amazing. It's populating. Hi, Tilaga. Yeah, there's a lot. So normally we wait for about 3 or 4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes before we start the proceedings. But while we are waiting, I'm getting some chats coming in. Sunil, hi Sunil. Hi Shrini. Hi Nikhil. So we rarely do have had the opportunity of having a panel, which was also a viewer at one point in time. So, and that's a question to you, Babita and Saumya. How has it been so far in the last 7 episodes? And what do you say about the kind of people we are getting, and what do you think about the quality of discussions that we are having? I know this was not an agreed plan. I'm dumping this on you.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Great way to get us prepared for the rest of the session. Shall I start?
Yes,
Right.
So Alok, we have been through the whole journey. We've seen it from the first show till now. We've seen the progress, and it's incredibly impressive. It's incredibly it's something that we learn, from every panel, and also it's going from strength to strength. And everyone I know can find at least one panel that they can learn from. So it's covering a vast array of of subjects, topics, people, and the people themselves have been very passionate, which is what speaks to me personally. When people are like very genuinely into their subject and ready to talk a lot about it. So yeah, that's my take on it, and I've genuinely enjoyed. I have not seen a couple of them, but barring a couple, I've seen pretty much every session, and I've been very happy with it.
So from my point of view, I've been through and through, like dot on 6. I just stick to my computer and see what's happening, and lot of learnings from each one of them, and we really loved it the way whether it is Sonsino, whether it's Siddharth, whether there were always some snippets which were useful for us as a company and as an individuals as well. So I think it is very nice, and I love the poll questions, because that's the time we as an audience get involved, and I really like that, and also commenting about what is happening.
Good. So we were also talking about this just before. So we go live about in a test mode about 20 minutes or 25 minutes before the actual show begins now. And Shweta and I, we were also talking about the fact that there are a couple of others who have come in, and but I think we have enjoyed unparalleled guests on our show, and even the next 4. So we're getting, and we spoke about it last time. We're getting Sai Alhir. His book is right here. He's a master on anti-fragility, just the right thing to do at this point in time. And many others. And right at the end, I will talk about who those are, and we go from there. So we have another 2 or 3 minutes before we go live. That's how we do. This is our 8th one, and the idea is that we will go right up till So we planned for 13, but we've got so many powerful speakers. We are thinking of going to 15 before we disengage the first season and then start the second season from there. So that's where we are.
Looking forward, yeah. So that's his book. Yeah.
This is fine. This is fine. And how does it feel to be on the seat? I mean, I know it feels ordinary and normal, but
it's a very difficult question to answer. It's actually the hot seat.
Yeah, like very nerve-wracking.
Yes.
Yeah. So it makes you. Now we understand, how everyone else feels when they're on the other side of the.
The number of rounds that we have with it happens with everyone, and that's how you bring the best out of the people who are here. So we do, between Sangram and I, we do about 3 or 4 rounds with everyone, and that's how we bring that in. So I think although we are a couple of minutes early, but should we start? Shweta, are we already live on Facebook also? We'll be streaming all other channels?
Yes, yes.
So let me start then. Viewers, you must be seeing only 3 faces. You're not seeing Sangram here, and I'll tell you why. Sangram is there. His video is switched off for a different reason. So welcome again. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the 8th episode of Guts, Glory, and Story with Sangram and Alok. Guts, Glory, and Story is a show where every week we have an industry stalwart to get the view from the absolute top. For those of you who don't know us, I hope there are not many. I'm Alok Sinha. I've donned multiple hats, that of a CEO, of an investor, an entrepreneur, and my book, Achieving Successful Business Outcomes, published by Taylor & Francis, US, is a strategic guide for businesses. My illustrious co-host, Sangram Surve, is a serial entrepreneur with 2 companies in the advertising space. He's also a movie maker whose first movie, Cycle, was screened at the Cannes Film Festival and has made its debut on Netflix. And we've been getting amazing responses on our channels, or even on the Guts Glory channel. Unfortunately, Sangram took sick last week, which is why he's not on his usual hot seat. I actually wanted to postpone this episode, but his answer was, the show must go on. However, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be happy to know that Sangram has tuned in live on the show today, but I have requested him to be just an observer. Today, he's going to throw questions at Babita and Saumya as a viewer. So, Babita and Saumya, you should be ready. Last week, and by the way, you're going to hear more of me because I'm doing both Sangrams and my side. So, and last week, we had Sid Mittal, the CEO of Biocon, who took us into the fascinating world of personalized medicines and low-cost biosimilars. And today, we have with us joint CEOs of Your Green Canvas, Babita Sinha and Saumya Tiwary. In a little while from now, I will invite them, but here is how the session will pan out. I will have a set of questions for them, which both Sangram and I have curated. This will go on for the first 30-35 minutes. Post that, we have handpicked a few questions. I think there are about 12 or 13 questions we normally handpick. We probably should be able to do 10 from a large number of questions that we have received from our audience. And then the last 15 minutes will be dedicated to live audiences for their questions, which they may have for the 2 ladies. We've also got some interesting poll questions, Babita, as you said, which are interspersed for the audience. But for the moment, it's all eyes on our power speakers of the evening, Babita Sinha and Saumya Tiwary. Their signature window into the future is a perpetual feature that they use to extend spaces, and they also say the vistas of mind, and we'll understand what they mean by that. But their expertise is in deploying nature and greens to drive resilience at homes, in offices, in green space, and even in human relationships. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our power guest for today, Babita Sinha Saumya Tiwary on Guts, Glory, and Story. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you, Alok.
Thank you very much for having us here. We're incredibly honored to be on this platform, you know, following so many stalwarts. And just by being here, you know, even our stature has sort of catapulted into that stratosphere. So yeah, we are very happy to be here, and I hope we are able to answer all the questions to the best.
We are very happy to have you on the show. Yeah. So viewers, before I dig into my first question for them, I'm going to request for something which has never happened before. I'm going to request for an audience poll. Now, this is the first time when the audience gets to speak before our power guest. But there's a reason to this. It is to surface a very stark reality of today's discussion. So audience, please get ready for your question. You get 30 seconds. We'll show you a picture first, and Shweta, if you can, please. Shweta?
Yes.
Yeah, don't worry. Take your time. While we wait for the question, we will show you a picture, and we will ask the viewers, do you remember this picture? It didn't happen too long ago. Rather difficult? You're getting difficulty? Take your time.
Yes, there's a little issue with the internet. Just give me 2 minutes.
Yeah, I know. Today I've been throwing googlies at everyone, including Shweta. Normally, pictures are not part of the poll question because the polls don't allow pictures. So we're switching between the laptop and the poll. So sorry about it. And Shweta, if you're finding it difficult, I can remind the picture.
I think internet is playing truant because it's raining.
Yeah.
All right, here is the picture. So folks, look at this picture. Do the viewers remember where this half-burnt animal was being fed water by a teenager? This wasn't too long ago. We just want an answer, either a yes or a no. Thanks, Shweta. So viewers, your chance to give us the answer. We'll wait for 30 seconds. While we show this picture, it's raining heavily in Bangalore, viewers, who are outside of Bangalore. It's as if the animal needed, you know, the relief of water. Okay, so we've got it. 62% of the viewers remember this, and 38% don't remember this. All right. And I will leave it for our esteemed guests to answer. But here is the question that is coming to you, Saumya and Babita. Greens and sustainability seems to be the topic that everyone thinks is important. Everyone thinks it, but not for them to act upon. Maybe for others to do, but not for them. Now, whether it is water, whether it's environment, soil, or green cover. But then there is a huge urgency. How do you communicate the message of this immense panic to every individual that each one of us need to do something? How do we do that? Babita, Saumya.
Yeah, I think I think we have got intelligent audience who knows where this was taken, because maximum people knew where this was. This was the Australian bushfires in January this year, just before COVID struck us. And if this picture doesn't move any person, what will? I'm not mounting a rhetoric, but just trying to put on some stark facts. Do you know, in the same Australian fires, 11 million hectares forests were burned and over 1 billion animals lost their lives. And before that, Amazon forests were on fire. Amazon forests are considered to be the lung spaces of our earth. They were burning. The whole earth seems to be burning. And as we speak, we hear that California is dealing with the massive forest fires. And not just that, you know, when we are going on the roadsides, what we normally see are 200-year-old trees lying belly up, cut in the name of development. Thousands of trees are cut in RA. And you know for what? Just to make a way for metro car shed. So it is all around, only we don't see it. The climate activists are saying that there is a threat that there will be a mass extinction if the temperatures rise even by 1.5 degrees centigrade. And believe it or not, we will live to see that day. Many people think they will not be alive when this happens, but we will be there. Look at Cape Town. It took a city like Cape Town to make us realize that drinking water can vanish. Incidentally, we were warned about this 25 years ago, but nobody paid heed. And now we are in the queue, impatiently waiting, Bangalore or Chennai. Who's the next? This is very sad, but this is happening. And India, you know, temperatures are going up year on year. There are massive heat waves, flooding, drought, cyclone. We all witness this, but we don't attribute it to the climate change. So Alok, you know, for first few years, we were busy running our business and we missed the bigger picture that a company like ours should have had. And these and many such incidents which are happening so quickly, one after another, have forced us to redefine and relook our purpose and existence. If we, being in the business of nature, can't ourselves make a change now, how can we expect others to do? Fortunately for us, our canvas is large and we have built it on the philosophy of resilience and sustainability. Sustainability is people and planet and profit, in that order. But unfortunately, what we see, it gets skewed in favor of profit. But we as a company, YGC as a company, has taken a conscious decision to focus on planet with people and for people, and profit will follow. We don't have to run after profit. Saumya?
Yeah, I mean, Alok, what has happened, I feel that, you know, as human beings, we have completely forgotten that we are part of nature. We are basically this pretty much the same as the plants and the animals that are dying endlessly here. We feel we are separate, even superior. We've forgotten that there is an interconnection between every living organism, you know, on this earth. And if there are no humans on this earth, the earth will exist. But the extinction of a single organism, fungus, bacteria, microbes in the soil, it is going to damage our planet irreparably. And, you know, all these calamities that Babita just spoke about, all these, you know, disasters that are happening so frequently, single human being on this planet is making an impact, a negative impact on this earth. And our focus is to become the catalyst of change, because if that one person, you know, who's throwing countless number of bottles, which is ending up in some cow's stomach or some whale in the ocean, that person can be influenced. I mean, if they can be influenced to throw, you know, use plastic so rampantly, then they can be influenced to, you know, plant countless greens. I mean, when we talk about these things, Alok, it's very anxiety inducing. We avoid talking about it because it makes it easy for us to continue with our lives if we don't look at this happening. But unfortunately, we have reached a point where we don't have the luxury. We just do not have the luxury to ignore the facts anymore. And if you look at the problem, it is not that overwhelming. Now, let's say, I don't know, there are probably 100 people here right now. If I were to go and tell one of them that, you have to plant 1 million trees in the next 1 year, it's impossible. But if I was to say that, if I were to talk to them, have conversations and influence them, that one person that, okay, fine, you take the decision to, let's say, gift only plants, or create your own green space, or go out and protect the trees that are there in your neighborhood, or go out and plant more trees in the public spaces. That one person then in turn influences 100 more people. And those 100 more people then go and influence 100 other people. And that is the only way we can bring about this change. Because, for one person, for just Babita and me, it's just impossible. And the only way we can bring about this sustainability, this change, this impact that we keep talking about, is to have people like, watching us to do the same. And we are not experts in everything. Since we've taken a conscious decision to make this our purpose, we've been very open to learning from it. And that is what I tell my participants in our workshops, or everyone we talk about, that, be open to having that uncomfortable conversation. Listen to opinions, even if they differ from yours. Have that, be open to learning. There are so many people, Alok, who are working extensively in this field. And if we were to just have like a small conversation with that one person, believe me, it's going to change our minds, our lives even. And that's what happened to Babita and me. Like, it's not like it was one day, an epiphany happened and we changed our ways. No, but it was just everything piling on top, one thing on top of another. And we realized, okay, we are in this business and we need to take that call. And I want that to happen to everyone here. There are numerous sources to which you can go to. Fortunately for us, we have a friend who has a startup called Terra.do, which is basically a climate change school. And, we have been listening to their podcasts and reading their blogs, and it's giving us such an in-depth perspective about climate change and different aspects of it, climate justice, different alternative fuels, regenerative agriculture, so many things that are of importance today. Then, viral videos. I mean, we are always on social media. Why not pay heed to some of the viral videos? I remember watching this one clip of Dr. Vandana Shiva a couple of years ago, and that was such a momentous, it was such a memory. It's still there in my mind. I still remember her words because, one, she's an extremely good speaker, but two, she was so passionate and she spoke so, clearly about the issues that we are facing, that, I've just been following her work, and that is enough to inspire me to, do our own bit. We have grown with, what about companies, for-profit companies like Patagonia? If a successful company like Patagonia can be an eco-conscious company, can, have processes that are not harmful to the earth, then I think a lot of other companies can do it. Unfortunately, I read a tweet somewhere that, Tata is planning to launch vehicles which are completely recyclable. Uber said that, they're trying to move to cars which are completely electric by 2030. I'm not very particular of the details, but I remember reading these tweets. So yes, that should be inspiring. I don't know whether it happens or not, but it should start a conversation that we can do it. We have David Attenborough. We've grown up watching him. How about listening to him? Listening to what he has been saying for years. We are always on Netflix. Watch some of the documentaries. We saw this one called, they spoke to us because it's very close to our work. It's called Kiss the Ground. And it was talking about, we've been talking about soil erosion. We've been talking about, depleting resources and microbes in the soil. And it is explained so clearly that it's just eye-opening, and it's very, very easy watch. And then, while we were researching about our own, changing our methods, we came across a detailed version of Chipko Andolan, which we have been reading about as a story throughout our childhood. But, once you start going into the details and listening to the stories and how this women-led movement became such a huge phenomena, and then you get inspired. And I hope that everyone sitting here can take cue from wherever they can and do something. And we want to be that, I hope, at some point. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. So, that was very passionate. I didn't want to stop you, both of you. That was very passionate. And by the way, I had rain pounding on the other side. The Shakespearean the rain, because you were talking about the end is due to come, or it's just around the corner. But jokes aside, I love the point that you said, if 100 people can do away by gifting or doing something with 100 plants over a period of a year, that's just 8 plants a month, whether it's inside, outside, birthday parties. And I see a lot of those return gifts now. That 100 people can influence another 100, who can influence another 100, that's a million. That's a million number. And that can be done very quickly. I think that's a beautiful call to action that I would take away. But thank you for the message of reason. Thank you for that and the passion that both of you displayed. Now, just a quick question to the viewers. Viewers, the pollution is not going to go away. And this is something which I learned from the 2 ladies here, that greens do have an effect on breathing easier, purifying the air, and increasing humidity, which means it makes life better, both inside and outside. So here is the second poll question for the viewers. Shweta, if you can put that up. So studies show that, and this is stark, shocking, that the air-conditioned buildings have higher levels of air pollution than streets in a central business district. The maths to make the air clean inside your rooms and business is quite simple. So, and here is what has been given. For every 100 square feet area, you need 1 large plant, 2 large plants, no plants, 1 money plant. Well, thank you. So it's a mixed poll. Shweta, we can hold it off. It's a mixed poll. We can show the answers. It's a mixed poll. We will let the experts answer this, but tell us a little bit more about YGC and what was the trigger to create this organization. Okay. Also, where are you now? How do you scale, both in terms of business and sustainability? And something like this, which the question talked about. What do you think about it? By the way, I have questions from Tulika Mazumdar from Stanford, and from Prakash Kundalia, Bombay, from Kundalia Industries, on very similar lines. What do you see the future of your company as a vision? And this is not, if you say this is not a profit-based alone, it's something more passion-based. How and what? Okay. So go ahead. We're very rapidly losing time. So quick answers on this one, please.
Yes, we will try and keep this very short. So the trigger for starting this was basically like deep dissatisfaction with where we were. I was on a maternity leave that just refused to end because I just could not make myself go back, to the job that I had, because, I was not giving anything to the organization and the organization was not doing anything for me. And I thought that was incredibly unfair for both of us. And it just happened. And Babita was a day trader who was so stressed with the whole, the whole process of the whole, that she just wanted like a complete clean break. Like she was forever into this whole CNBC ticker. Wherever we would go, she would be looking at for a TV. So I think that basically was sort of our trigger. We thought we were just not doing anything. Like our presence was not making any difference. How it started was that, whenever we discussed what to do, we gravitated towards greens because we are both plant people who have grown up with incredibly plant mad family. Uh, and and the business started very serendipitously because we attended this random workshop that taught us how to make a terrarium. And that product basically gave us this boost. Okay, we will make this and sell this in India. And that was just the start of our business. It was just the thought of introducing greenery into our homes, because, you know, as apartment dwellers, we were just missing it and craving it. And we thought this was one of the great ways of introducing greenery indoors. And it just started, you know, first couple of years was all about, one, we were first time entrepreneurs, had no clue about business. It was just a learning curve, learning about business, running a business, learning about the world of plants, learning about soil, learning about, you know, building a product, looking for a market, looking for people to sell it to, looking for, you know, branding, how to promote it. It was just like constant learning. The 2 years was, I think we were just, you know, we had blinkers on. We saw nothing else but terrariums. While it was just that one product, we are still very thankful for it, because that terrarium got us introduced to the next part of our growth, which was commercial landscaping. This terrarium, it was directly responsible for getting our first commercial project. You know, there was a client who liked our creativity and our passion for green, and he basically just gave us a barren piece of land and said, do whatever you will, you know, what you will with it. And it was a restaurant. It was Big Blue Sky, actually. And you know, it was just a scary, exciting opportunity that we just grabbed onto. It was another incredible learning process. We learned project management, people management, plant world, how to, you know, bring somebody else's vision to life, because so far we were just doing our own creation. And again, this project then led to our entry into the world of office landscaping and maintenance. So you see, Alok, it has been very organic, and we are very thankful for that, because, you know, it's all been learning on the job. So, you know, we are very glad that, you know, after every growth, we get a little bit of time to get acclimatized to that part of the job and learn more about it and implement better practices and just get better at it. And now we've added like hotels, restaurants, hospitals, you know, n number of commercial buildings to our expanding portfolio.
I'll add in here. So Alok, you see,
So
we are.
can you also give us the answer? What was the answer?
Okay, yeah. The answer was one large plant is enough to take care. Yes, that's one large plant is just enough.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead with your part of the answer, sir.
So you see, we are constantly evolving. So during our strategy session, we also have business strategy sessions where we constantly try to explore not only our existing markets, but venture into adjacent markets to unknown markets. Because, you know, the growth has to be and disruption has to be all across. And this has directly resulted in getting us our new vertical, which is public spaces. We are working with NHAI on few of the highway projects in both south and east of our country. So, and in these projects, you know, we want to bring all our learning, expertise, research, innovation, and we want to make an impact on much larger scale by, you know, doing our best in these projects. So you can see that we have been blessed with a vast canvas by the nature, from nooks and corners of your homes and offices, public spaces, terrariums. We stage plants both inside and outside homes, in balconies, terraces. You know, in short, you will find us wherever there are living greens. And if Elon Musk plans to grow sugarcane in Mars, we will be there with the seeds.
Yeah, that's our goal.
He needs to first plan to get the space shuttle working. I think that's working, but yeah, maybe yeah. But again, great points here, and I am trying to intersperse some of the viewer questions that we've got. So Muskan Setia, she's a student, and I will patch it with the question that I'm going to ask you. She says, what all factors of corporate social responsibility one should keep in mind when opening a new business, especially in COVID? But coupled to this, and this question, both Babita and Saumya, how do you reconcile between what is needed, and you spoke about a lot about it, and what you do at YGC. Because, at some point, and I know, Babita, you start with this is not a rhetoric, and if it is not a rhetoric, then there must be something where you drive impact in order to combat some of the issues that you talked about. How do you drive impact, and what impact?
So Alok, you can see that we started this company with creativity, and now it's all about impact. When we talk of impact, it is actually zero negative impact on earth and maximum positive impact on people. So when it comes to zero impact on earth, what is it? It's soil, it is decision about plants, it is use of plastic. So I'll go briefly about each of them for you to understand how we incorporate it in YGC. So when it comes to soil, we don't want to introduce any chemicals that harm the microbes in the soil. So we are retraining our staff as well as guiding others to look for alternates. And these alternatives can be found in your kitchen. They can be a banana peel, that can be coffee powders, eggshells. Wherever possible, we are trying to use what is available in your vicinity and which is natural. And when it comes to plants, we normally love to use water-wise plants, and planting the right tree in right place is very important. And when we are doing NHAI projects, it becomes even more important because these native plants have existed in that particular area for years. And being there, they become resilient against pests, they become resilient against diseases, and even effects of climate change. Then coming to plastic, is widely used in our industry, but we encourage our growers to use coconut fiber or other plant-based fibers for growing new plants. And if nothing else, to reuse the existing containers there rather than using them in landfill. When it comes to compost, so all our compost is sourced from a company which is waste to energy company, and where compost comes as a byproduct. And that compost which comes as a byproduct is a nutrient rich sludge, and it is very good for soil. So in our way, we are trying whatever we can. Not only that, when customers come to us, we tell them that if your plants die in the terrarium, you get the glass bowls back to us, and we will transform them again into something beautiful. And again, succulents need water once a week. So they are all water-wise plants. And we try to focus on local growers and suppliers and do our bit in, cutting down surface emissions. The idea here is to make these activities a norm rather than one-off.
Yeah. So Babita was talking about the planet part of it and how we are trying to change our ways to make sure that we are not leaving any negative impact on planet. And then we can come to the people part of it. And, people are the source of energy and lifeblood of any business and society. And because we cannot make any change by ourselves, we have to get more and more people excited about the green cause. When it comes to people, we want to make the maximum impact, and our biggest achievement so far has been in 3 phases. And this is where Alok, the question about corporate social responsibility comes in, because we have sort of figured out that, any company, a company existing in a society cannot be separate from the environment and the society that it exists in. It has to work in collaboration. And that means, if the company has to grow, then the people around it has to grow. And that is why we have figured out in some ways 3 ways of, impacting the people that we come in contact with. We're talking about, the first one is total inclusion. And when I say total inclusion, we mean that, let's say, our horticulturist knows more about plants than Babita and I will ever know. So including him in every important decision-making process is incredibly important. No matter what his role is or where he is, his knowledge is more important to us. He understands our maintenance side of the thing. So all our decision-making process has him. So I think when I say total inclusion, I'm talking about empowering people, giving them the opportunity to show what they are and grow from there. Give them enough skill that even if they leave my job, he now can grow and, can further that cause. He can then go and inspire some other people in terms of skills, etc. Then you have job skilling. We work extensively with our local communities, women in our local communities. The backbone of our product line is Shankarama, who was basically our help, like a house help. And initially we just hired her because we needed her. It's not just that we were trying to do a lot, like trying to make her life better. We needed her, we hired her. And in the process, we realized what an incredible talent she has for terrariums. Now her terrariums are, like most of the terrariums you see are made by her or by women trained by her. We take her for her workshops and she trains participants in corporate companies without uttering a single word of English. We are doing this one space 5 avatar on Instagram. And you will see her because her inputs and her are incredibly important to us now. We have understood, we discovered this talent for styling in her. She has an eye. And I feel very proud when I see her, telling us, ki, Didi, ye acha nahi lag raha hai. We feel happy, like she's confident in her, taste in her styling. So I thought that was an incredible achievement. Then you come to our workshops. Our terrarium workshops are obviously the most popular ones, and we are very happy that our workshops have led to more entrepreneurs. There are like many ladies actually who have taken up this as a business, who have come to us for support, and that makes us very happy. It means that I am making I'm bringing a change which can then move forward, and that means it's sustainable. And that means, this whole message is not limited to us, the two of us. We run this workshop, which is on, again, synergies between business and nature. And that has, again, inspired so many people to take up this whole space. So I think that is the impact that we are talking about when it comes to people. And
I do have a question, but on that one,
yeah.
Here are a couple of comments which I'd like to read out. Babita Saumya, wonderful to listen to both of you. Grish Kuridi, you sound more philosophers than entrepreneurs. Green is the new black, and best wishes. But this one I can't miss. So this is from Sangram Surve. Sangram is on the panel, but he is switched off because he's not well. So he's locked in his bedroom on his, I don't know whether on his chair or on the bed. But he's got a question for you, and this is a strong one. Are you planning to expand your services into making corporate office net zero, okay, through cleaner energy sources like solar and wind? So today you're doing only greens. Is there any point in time do you want to expand? And you talked about unknown. Is there any point where you think you will go into a complete ownership of net zero? So it's not only the environment inside, but everything else. Go ahead.
Never say never, Alok.
Yes,
never say never. We have not discussed it. We have not, because there's so much to do in our own bit right now. But we are working with people who are actually in that space.
Praveen Sinha was, if you do remember, Praveen Sinha was there, and he actually was the CEO of Tata Power. He was with us, and he was actually, telling people, why don't you do it? He was.
So I want to add here. So Sangram, not at the moment we have not thought about such big scale, but yes, on a smaller scale, we have been thinking of making a studio. Where we have a piece of land somewhere in Shajapur where we want to make it, zero, all green and with bamboos and with solar energy, with water wise. So you might come in another 1 year. You never know.
And if of the audience knows someone who's working in the space who's ready to help us, because we want to make it a model for a lot of our workers. We want to make it a low cost, eco-conscious housing options. Please feel free to get in touch with us.
Okay, thanks. So let me come to my next question, and I'll keep interspersing. I've got some other questions coming in. Okay, Ashish Das, he's asked for share some contacts in the West Bengal horticulture department. Okay, that's too specific. And maybe I'll send this mail to you, and you guys can look at what I have.
Yeah.
Who's talking about collaborating with similar NGOs, and I think he's part of Rotary Club in Bangalore, and I think he wants to get in touch. Richa Maheshwari has sent in. Do you have plans of sustained model for maintenance of these greens? Richa wants to know whether you are having any plans where this model is sustained. Go ahead.
Sustained maintenance.
Yeah.
Actually, maintenance is a huge part of our business. It's a huge part of our solution impact. Like, there's no point in giving a green solution to someone who's not able to maintain it, or to whom we are not able to support in terms of maintenance. All the landscaping that we have done in and around Bangalore are maintained by us. Or another initiative that we have taken actually when it comes to maintenance is training differently abled people in the whole maintenance department, horticultural maintenance. So we are working with the Society for Differently Abled People to actually train people to maintain some of the landscaping that we have done.
So they are the horticulturists, or they are the gardeners that you have? They are differently abled? Is that?
They are differently abled. They are not trained horticulturists, but they have been given a vocational training about horticultural activities. They've been trained to maintain plants. They've been trained to propagate. They've been trained to do a soil enrichment. So yeah, so we are working with them extensively, and then we have our own people. We train maintenance is a huge part of it. You can't have plants unless you're ready to give it some time.
Good. Thank you. So my next question has to be with COVID. Remember, we said the show must go on, and it's all about COVID and how COVID has impacted all of us, whether it's office, whether it's home. So here's the question on the COVID piece. The current COVID situation has been both a boon and a bane. And I heard this from you only. Has COVID seen any change in how people view spaces and relationships?
So I'll take it. We have to look at COVID through two lenses. Okay, one is environmental and another one is societal. COVID came as a wake-up call. It seemed that nature was taking a breather. It took a pandemic like COVID to make us realize that we are the cause of all climate change. With us locked inside, we saw an immediate change in nature. Everybody would have seen it on television that the skies became bluer, cleaner. Pollution levels in some cities dropped to a historic low levels. A generation of people were able to see Himalayas from their homes in places like Jalandhar and Saharanpur. There were also stories about animals reclaiming their pieces of land, and water bodies also got some respite. I remember I read an article which said that Ganges got cleaner in first 10 days of lockdown in India. So what I can relate is somebody has rightly said that coronavirus is Earth's vaccine and we are the virus. So, with us locked inside, there was nothing to trouble Earth.
Yeah.
And I loved it, and I really think that was true. That was a message which was being given to us. And if nothing else, COVID made people realize the value of green and clean outdoors and what they are doing to the nature. In 7 years of our running our business, we have never seen so many people flocking nurseries. Like if we go to nurseries, we see so many people, and even, agricultural companies are reporting 30% increase in the sale of the seeds. Do you know why? Any guesses? So
No.
I can tell you why, and I have done extensive research on it, but why it's happening. So they say this happens in extreme stress and anxiety. People turn to gardening because it acts as an antidote. So what's happening is, in the current situation is people are not being able to see when this COVID will go away. So they are turning to something which they feel is real, living, and which can respond. I can relate to a gardener's experience who had said that, gardening is more than just sowing seeds and watching things grow. it teaches us patience and its rewards, and it gives a hope for a better tomorrow. And we need this kind of resilience and hope to weather this current condition. Saumya?
Yeah, in my case, I want to say that, COVID also sort of brought focus to a few things that we had taken for granted. You know, the first thing is that the first thing that you would have noticed about COVID is that it has dramatically reduced our choices. We are pretty much eating the same food. I mean, of course, like barring, your initial baking euphoria and experimentation with food, but we are now eating almost the same food. We are wearing the same clothes. We are staying in that same house. The four walls are being used by all of us, in the absence of need, because we are not able to step out. So the house has now turned into both our refuge as well as, a sort of a jail. COVID made us realize the value of homes, but it also made us realize how, we are devoid of nature. And both these things are coming into play when because we are staying at home. When you look at people, like when you look at a large family living in like 2-bedroom houses, you start valuing your space. We were listening to some people, I think I was talking to a colleague who said that his employee is taking his calls from the backseat of his car because, he doesn't have space in the house. It's been taken up by so many other people for their calls or school, or because the mother obviously will have to either step out. What about, like I, for example, spend most of my time in the balcony. Because if not, I will be sitting in the drawing room and taking my call, and then my poor mother-in-law will not be able to watch TV, which is all she can do because all the other rooms are occupied. So now a space has to play so many roles. It's your office, it's your school, it's your meditative zone, it's your party place. And that is why look, we are seeing so many people who come to us because they want to now make the space multi-purpose. They say, okay, I have just this corner. Can you create a green screen? I only have the balcony left. Can you create like a, outdoor workspace? Or just to get us respite, And I'm talking about families. What about people who are living alone? For them, it is, they're just taking to greens. That's all they have that can respond to them. Otherwise, they're alone. So I think COVID also brought into focus our dependency.
So I think it's a very profound observation. Didn't think about it, that the two things which shrank in our lives was making choices and usage of space. Space shrank and choices shrank.
Absolutely.
And so we've gone back to native, basically whatever is so we've all become minimalistic in doing it. Great. So there are two other questions. Thanks. It's a very different conversation which we are having over here. Much different from, I think, what Sangram and I had conceived, but fantastic conversation. So I want to do one live question and one which had come to us from one of our viewers. So the live question is, as a starting point, should we not have plants in our homes, even in apartments? It really helps in my view. And the second, which is associated with this, is, one second, is most of us know that the positive impact of plants and greenery around exists, right? Apart from the usual contrast effect of absence of plants in one life, is there any other significant effect on a person's well-being if he is not around greenery? So I think this is Nupur, who wants to know whether there is any negative effect. So one, of course, there is positive effect. The other is there any negative effect of not having greenery? And after that, I have one more question. So for you.
So I think there is a real negative effect. For you or us to realize the negative effect, you have to actually be in a place which is bereft of plants. And when you go, you'll see how much difference it makes to have a plant. Coming to, traveling in different parts of Bangalore. One part of Bangalore is Sharjapur Road, where you see no plants. and it is burning through the summers. And one part is your Koramangala, only 10 kilometers apart, you know, and in Koramangala, the degree of temperature lessens. So I think advantages of having plants far outweighs disadvantages of not having one.
Yeah, there's an immediate impact on you, you know, your perception, your well-being. In fact, you suddenly start feeling low. You know, you don't know why you're feeling low, but it's an absence of, you know, living, breathing things around you. It's just, it makes you feel low. You suddenly see more dust on you. You suddenly see more rundown things. You know, there is definite negative.
By the way, the questions are coming on the road. So, and I have one big question for you. So I have one question from Professor Madhvi Lokhande. She's the Dean for Wellinger. And I have another one from Tulika Mazumdar, who is a researcher at Stanford. Two big names. Professor Madhvi's question is, do you plan to tie up with the waste management folks to help compost wet waste at home? They may be working with big societies and corporates, so it's a win-win for both. So this is all about, do you have a mechanism by which you can use waste management and whatever generation of power? And Tulika's question is, to Babita's point about gardening being an antidote to anxiety, is YGC losing potential customers during COVID since people might be doing it on their own? So there is a negative, because it is antidote to you know, it's an antidote to anxiety. Are people doing on their own, and are you happy about it? So two questions. One is on the waste management side, and the other one is on whether you're losing customers.
I can take that up. We actually never thought of losing customers because, you know, for us, gardening is never about customers. But, you know, we are very happy that people are taking it up more and more so. And, you know, all the people who are taking it up will in fact lead to a better, you know, world for them. And, but we've also seen an incredible increase in a lot of people reaching out to us to set up their initial gardening processes. So in essence, we have sort of gained a lot of customers during this time because, you know, people don't even know where to get started, where to buy the first plant, where to buy the first seed, where to buy the soil. So it has gone up, but we are also very happy that they have taken it up on their own because we are just happy that people are, you know, dealing with their anxiety in whichever way possible. Because even if we are all doing well, even if, you know, COVID has not affected us directly, there is this underlying thread of anxiety in pretty much all our lives right now. And whatever helps is a great boon to us. And I mean, gardening, you take up gardening and we'll be more than happy. It doesn't matter if it's our customer or somebody else's.
Anything on the compost and the waste management side? A quick 2 minutes answer.
So yeah, so we are, we actually have a waste management company who in our society, which comes and picks our garbage and converts it into a composting and delivers it to different places. So we are in touch with them, and whenever we need anything, so there are many companies who have been doing, so we normally go to them first. We go to our electric generation company when we are doing NHAI highways, but we go when we need it for smaller projects like for gardening or terrace gardening or even for landscaping. We reach out to these people only. I hope I answered it.
Yeah, what you're saying is that you've got the smaller ones as well as for the larger one, you actually go to the plant.
The plant, energy plant.
Yes.
Okay, so I have my last question here. So I think the story of resilience is very multidimensional and very profound in the way that you folks have narrated that. And you did speak about the fact that you run business workshops in how businesses can make themselves resilient. So your story is so critical for businesses to understand how they can become resilient, right? It's all about learning from the business of nature, and that's where the you know, whatever the name of the today's session, the title of it. What about the learnings from business of nature that can be applied to the nature of business? your workshops. And do you think that we need to be more perceptive or more observant, or just curiosity will do this? So just that question for you.
Okay. Babita, you want me to take this up first?
Yeah, I can. I think nature is the biggest teacher. Uh, Most of the things are like you need to observe them to find out what is happening. But in our corporate workshops, we focus mostly what nature teaches you while running your business, and how nature copes with it, and how you can in turn be helpful in getting your answers. So few of them is like, weeds. You see weeds in gardens. Is in a day's time, your entire garden will be decimated. So we relate these weeds to the corporate terrorists. Uh, and corporate terrorists are like, they have to be there, but they have to, if they are left unchecked, you know what will happen to your company. And same thing, one more we love is about resilience. So have you ever tried composting anything in your home? I think many of you would have, and many of you who haven't, I'll tell you what it is. When you compost, you put all your dry waste material, and then you put some microbes for them to make it a compost. So I'll relate an incident where I opened a compost bin, and I found this small seedling which had grown into a tiny plant, and there was muck all around. So that was a great story of resilience, and that applies so well with the startups. They are constantly under pressure of growth, scaling, shortage of funds. There are plethora of problems. If you are in a startup mode, you would know how it is, but few manage to become resilient against all these odds. So if you go to nature, it's teaching you. You only need to be observant to see what is happening in and around you.
Survival of the fittest, is that
Yes,
what you say?
survival of the fittest. Yes, it weeds out the weak, and it nurtures the strong.
Yeah. And another couple of examples that we use extensively during our workshops, and it's one of our favorites, and I keep telling people, is that one, it's okay to kill a plant. It's not okay, but don't get disheartened if you kill one plant. The problem is if you don't learn after you've killed that plant, you do not learn from that mistake. So, learn from that one, killing that one plant so that you don't kill another. And that is the biggest, that is something that has formed the basis of a lot of our, workshops. The other one, which sort of helped, which sort of spoke to us in the initial years of our business was that, giving up the ghost, or not even giving up the ghost, more about, obsessing about this one thing, and then, going with blinkers on after that, and then doing everything right, getting it, making sure that all the boxes are checked, and still not getting it. And that is a lesson that has been taught to us by plants, because so many plants have, we've seen so many plants die in spite of doing every possible thing. And that you just accept it as part of nature. You just accept that maybe this was not meant to be. This plant was just not meant to die. If this weak plant died, another strong one is living. And that is something that has really taught us to, relook at some of our priorities when it comes to our business. And the other one that I really keep talking about during our workshops is looking for the root cause, root cause of the problem rather than treating the symptoms. And this is a problem that, all the gardeners will understand. A yellow leaf on a plant can be caused by low nutrition, too much of nutrition, low watering, too much of watering, low light, too much of light. And each of these issues have a different, solution. You can't go random one, pesticide or one fertilizer and put it. You have to understand what is causing that yellow leaf. And that has actually sort of ingrained in us. Initially we would react. The first couple of years of our business, everything was a reaction basis. Every problem would get a reaction. Now we are like, okay, now let us figure out how it is happening, why it is happening, and then we will solve it. And I think these are the examples that we use in our workshops and which speak to us.
Thank you. I think we've completely run out of time, and thank you. This has been an amazing discussion. We've not had such kind of a discussion before on our show. So, and I was furiously trying to remember what were the 3 or 4 takeaways which you talked about. There's no time for discussions. It's time for action. I love that COVID seems to be a vaccine to clean the Mother Earth of a petulant virus. Babita, that was a cheeky one when you said we human beings.
That was
Every one of us can be part of this chain reversal. I think that's what you said. And I like the fact that 100, impact of 100, who in turn impact another 100, who in turn impact another 100. And I won't stop over there, Saumya. Who in turn another 100, that's 1 billion people.
Yeah.
That's that's 10 million people. That's a large number. No, that's 100 million people. That's a large number. Sorry about my maths. So, and then the fact that businesses have a lot to learn from nature if they want to become resilient. With this, thank you, Babita and Saumya, for a very enlightening conversation. And I know, Sangram, you've taken over as the host. Sangram is itching, but Sangram, take care, please. We wish that you get well soon. And with this, thank you, viewers, for being with us on this Saturday evening. Guts, Glory, and Story will bring more engaging conversation with industry leaders from different industries every Saturday. Next Saturday, however, we will be off air to allow Sangram to recuperate. Sangram, thanks for being with us today, and wishes again for a very speedy recovery from all of us on the program today. Viewers, we have a scintillating lineup of next 4 speakers for you. You should listen to this lineup. So we have Sai Alahir, the guy who wrote this book, The Anti-Fragility Edge. We have Alahir. He's a Boston-based author and a thought leader on anti-fragility and agility, something needed very, very urgently in today's environment. We have another big guy, Christian Sarkar. He's the co-author of Brand Activism with Philip Kotler. We seeing whether we can get Philip also on the show. But both Christian and Philip Kotler are working on the next paradigm of marketing, and they call it the role of ecosystems. Again, very, very, very much needed for today's environment. All about community and building ecosystem, but they go far beyond just community and ecosystem. Then we have Preeti Vyas, who's the CEO of Amar Chitrakatha, and finally Umesh Srikhande, who is the charismatic CEO of Taproot Agency. So you should look at how advertising works during COVID time. So with that, stay tuned on our social media pages for announcement of these dates. We probably take a hiatus of just 1 week. Do also keep tracking our pages for the COVID tales. So this is it from our side at Guts, Glory, and Story. Have a great weekend and see you soon. Thank you again to our panelists, Saumya and Babita. And thank you to Sangram for being quietly on the show, although your doctors told you not to do so. And of course, our 2 Shweta and Sarika for running this for us. So thank you again. We'll see you probably the week after.
Thank you. Thank you for having us, Alok, and thank you, Sangram.
Thank you, Alok. Thank you, Sangram.
Thank you to all the participants. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.